Hey guys, Target here and welcome to another episode of Design and Manage a City Skylines and Modded Let's Play series. On the last episode we started to build a city zoo and today hopefully we are going to continue to expand it. But before that we have an already built road layout to the left side of the city, we have some demand for buildings, so I believe we can expand the population of the city before working on the zoo. So let's start working on that. Okay guys, so on the last episode we have started and built this initial foundation for the city zoo. We already have some enclosures in it. For the next upgrade we need to reach a total of 2500 visitors. We're still far away from that. So we can take advantage of this to start working on the expansion of the city. We have a few demands for commercial, so I think that's something that we can address right now. I know that I will want to zone a few commercial buildings in this little area here, because it is a central area of the city, or at least of this part of the layout, because it's a place where trucks get into town for the first time and also leave through this road here. So we can start zoning some buildings in this facility. Let's make sure we have everything provided with water. Okay, and now let's zone a few shops here. So, I don't know, let's say I want all of these to become shops, and also on this road as well. We can mix in a few high density shops here, just to add a bit of variety. So something like this, it should be enough. And let's also start working on a few pathways. We can add a quick access from this road to also this road by adding a small connection here. So something like this. And we can even unzone this small little block here. Perhaps we can even convert this to a pathway trees. Let's make sure it doesn't clip with anything. No, it doesn't. Perfect. So we can keep it. And we can even make a small pathway network inside this little block. So it's kind of a mini park. Let's see, I want to make a curvy shape, so something like this, for example. Okay, we are going to dezone a few buildings, but that's okay. Make another connection there, and another connection here as well. Okay, cool. Let's also add a few more shops in this side of the road. But I want it to be low density, like this. And we can even add a small plaza over here, just to provide a leisure zone for people shopping in this zone, in this area. While we'll let these commercial buildings develop, we can start working on this part of the layout. So we are going to start by upgrading all of these to normal roads. Okay, perfect, and now I think I want to add a few more connections or a few more intersections to this side. So let's add another block here. Another one here next to this intersection road. And I'm going to make a last one over here as well. Okay, and I think these roads are not perfectly straight. So let me try and fix this. I also think I'm going to expand this road all the way over here, just to maximize zoning, and this one as well. Actually, let's end this one over there, so we can add this small block of water, and this one over here. For this side I can even have a road that will go around the coast of the river, so let's try and do that. This is also a way of breaking the grid. Okay, under the bridge is going to be a small challenge, but hopefully we will be able to do this. Like, let me see, like this. Okay, perfect. And hopefully the light posts are not clipping with the bridge. No, they're not. Okay, I like this. Now let's just find a way to connect these roads with each other. Let's terraform this little bit over here so we can make a much better connection without worrying about the water. Okay, now let's just try to connect everything. Okay, the shape of this curve seems about right, it doesn't bother me at all. It's nice to break up the grid. Now we just need to add a few more roads connecting to this coastal area. So perhaps we can continue this one all the way over here. Okay, and this one, okay, doesn't connect very well here, but perhaps we can make something like this, maybe? Okay, sure. And over here we have the same problem, but perhaps you can make the same thing that we've done here by making a little curve. So over here, let me just check the slope of all of these roads. It seems about right, okay, and now they're ready to be zoned in with some houses. So let's do that, but before that we need to provide water to this entire area. Okay, now we also need to add another water pumping station because we are needing another one of these. So let's place it over here. And let's readjust the piping network. Oh, and of course I almost forgot about the water treatment plant that we need. So let's add another one of these and connect everything with some water pipes. Okay. For this area, I don't know, I think I want to have some little houses, some of these houses zoned at the coastline. So perhaps we can zone a few of these and they will not look that bad. Let's see when they grow up. Because I know that it seems that it's too close to the water, but when they grow up, the terrain around them will actually change and adapt to the new construction. So let's zone a few houses and see how they grow up and develop. We should also provide a temporary power supply, and we should now wait. While we are waiting for them to grow, let me just zone a few more of these over here. Now, while we wait for these to grow, we can also start zoning a few more commercial and also offices, because we have quite a demand for these type of services. I think I want to zone my commerce right about on this road, on this area here, because it's right next to the highway exit. So let's zone some shops over here, and also this area as well. We can have a few high density shops over here. It also seems that our houses are finally growing, but they need another power line. And let me check out. Yeah, I don't mind this at all. If all of the houses grow like this, I don't mind to have a bunch of little houses right next to the coastline. So let's actually wait until the power transfer over to this side, and then we can zone all of this with low density residential. But we were working on the commerce area of the city. I also think I want to zone a few offices here. And hopefully this will not be too close to the highway and will not create some traffic jams over here. And we can also add a lot of offices and commercial in this area over here, because this is going to be quite a noisy area and I don't think residential will be suitable. Let's also add a few pathways. Right now these buildings don't have power, but that's okay because power will soon transfer over. Let's see, what kind of pathways can we make here? Let's use these gray paths because they were the ones that we use right about over here. So let's see, we can make a quick walking path between these two areas. So something like this. Perhaps we can even make it go a bit further. Let's disable everything except the angle. And make a connection right here. Okay. And we can do the same right about here. And I'm gonna destroy a few offices, but that's okay. They will soon rebuild. And this pathway can actually be a red one. just to be similar to the one we have placed here. Let's check out the leisure. It seems that everything over here is covered, but I still think it's going to be a good idea to provide some unique buildings in this area. Let's see what we have. We have this thing, the Skatepark, which is something that I rarely have been using in my city. Or should I say never. But I think it's something that looks really great next to a commercial sector. So let's add one of these, I don't know, let's see. How about over here, right next to the pathway? So let's place one here. Okay, cool, looks great. Let's dezone the commerce here and let's relocate it to this area instead. Let's also add a small plaza, so let's see, perhaps we can use the long one. And we can place it right here. That's quite a nice fit for it. I like it. I also want to disable zoning on these roads, so perhaps I'm going to convert them to some highways. Okay, and you know, perhaps all of this can be highways. This should be a one-way actually. And the same thing over here. And the same thing over here as well. Okay. And look at this, it seems that the power has finally transferred over to this side. These houses look absolutely cute, so let's continue and zone a couple more of these all the way until the end of this coastline. So I'm thinking this area over here to the right side can be mostly commercial and offices, as we have here, and as it goes to the left side it slowly turns into mostly residential, because these are supposed to be the suburbs after all, on the outskirts of the city. But before we actually start zoning in a few more stuff, let's check out the public transport in this area. We definitely need to add another metro station. We can add the last one right about in this area. So let's do that. Let's pick up our metro station. Where is it? There it is. And let's place it at a very central area right here. Okay. Now we can just connect it. I'm having a bit of difficulty making this curve. So what we can do is actually make a straight line all the way over here. Delete this entire segment. So we have this one as a guideline. Let's actually make this a bit longer. Now let's draw a road from over here. And let's grab this axis while keeping a 180-degree angle. Okay, like this, and now we can finally connect it here. Okay, that's a very decent curve, which we can now drag in our metro stops. So let's drag it here, and let's replenish this line over here. And why can I not make a stop? There we go. Okay. Another thing that we can do is actually start out planning out the services. So I'm going to need another elementary school here, which I am going to place right here, okay? And we are definitely going to need another high school. Oh, and look at this. The zoo has gone to level 3. That's great. We're gonna work on that a bit later on. But first we need to place our high school, and I believe I'm gonna place it right about here. Okay, let's add a basketball court to this area. Here is a perfect fit. Fits very well with this elementary school. Okay, let's also add a pathway. There we go. Let me check out the other services. So when it comes to fire, I actually don't have any fire station here, so I think we can put a big one to cover this entire area, this entire location. So I'm going to put a big one right about here. This should be okay in this area, and I think I'm gonna place it here. Okay, let's do the same with the police. The last police station that we have is placed over here, so we can also put a big one, and I'm going to place it right next to this massive commercial area. Yes, I'm going to place it in the location of this building, so it's gonna be right here. Okay, there we go. It looks good. It's not clipping with the bridge, which is great. As for health, we can place a couple of medical clinics. So I am going to place one right about here in this little corner, and I can place a secondary one right about here. I think I'm going to place it right across the street from the elementary school. That's a nice central location. So there you go, yes. And finally, I also need to worry about leisure, but I actually want to wait until we have this entire thing zoned in so we can determine the best location for the parks based on the color of the buildings. Finally, one last thing that I want to do before I start zoning things here. I want to build some high density here, but I don't want the buildings to go overboard in height. So what I think I'm going to do is actually draw a district and put in the ban the high density policy. So let's do that right now. Okay, there we go. And now let's set up the policies and let's go for the high-rise ban. This will prevent buildings to go to the highest levels of development and will prevent them from getting the maximum income possible, but will keep them at a low medium height so that we don't have any skyscrapers here. And look at this, it seems that the coastal area is finally complete, all nicely built in. I think these little houses look very good. Perhaps there's too many of them, so I might even add a few blank spaces between houses, but overall I think it looks great. Okay, let's move on and finish up the zoning in this location. Okay guys, this area is developing quite nicely indeed. As I have mentioned, I've made this entire central area as mostly commercial. I've also expanded the area to the metro station because it's quite a nosy location. As I go further away from this core, I transitioned into high density residential and then I transitioned again to low density residential, as you see here. While this thing is developing, we can start already think about leisure. So I think I'm going to take advantage of this big area to add a park. So one of those big parks. I don't think the park with trees fits here. Oh, it actually does. But I'll have to delete a few houses. I don't know if I want that. But let's see how it looks just for the sake of testing. And you know what? I don't mind this at all. I really don't. Perhaps I can level the terrain a little bit just so we can have it look a bit better. Perhaps I have to delete it first. So let's level this entire thing. And now let's try adding the park again. And hopefully it will look much better. And yeah, I think, yeah, there we go. It's not perfectly horizontal, but it's realistic enough for me. Unfortunately, I have deleted this little house, but that's okay. Let's actually delete this one as well. I'm actually gonna draw in the pathway from this intersection on the park, and let's actually activate the guides, but let's disable the road guidelines. And perhaps we can also disable the road length and keep only the angle. And let's bring it all the way here. And now let's bring it all the way to this side. And hopefully I will not delete this house. And there we go, okay. Let me actually see if I can level the terrain a bit, so that the slope gets much better. Yeah, there we go, perfect. And we could have a house here after all, so let's do it. And let's make another pathway. Let's bring it all the way here as well. And let's continue it. Okay, there we go. So that's one area of the coastline decorated. Let's see what else can we put here. We can go to the metro and actually put a plaza here. We have this thing that we haven't placed yet, the Fountain of Life and Death. Most of the cool parks are already placed in. We only have these big gigantic buildings that we can place somewhere else in the city. But I think I'm gonna place the big plaza right about over here. Okay, I think it looks great. Let's actually dezone this thing and create a pathway that wraps around the park. And we'll eventually have another connection right here. And this is just so we have a better visibility over the park when people get out of the metro. I even think I'm going to remove the trees in this particular location. Let's take it away and let's dezone this area as well. Okay, much better. We also need some more leisure options in this area. Let's see what we have. We have this thing, the Bird and Bee Haven, that I haven't placed yet. Let me see how it looks if I place it over here. I like the asset, but I don't really like how it looks in this slope. I don't think these people would want to have a bunch of bees nearby, so I think this is not a good place for it. And let's put the Bird and Bee Haven over here instead. Or at least let's see how it looks, but before that let me actually zone in this entire thing, or level the terrain. And now let me see how it looks. Okay, I think it looks much better. I actually do not want to place anything here, so what we can actually do is delete that road. We can actually make it much smoother angle, like this. Okay, it looks great, and now we can simply level up the entire terrain. So let's make this less awkward looking. Okay, let me check this out. And yeah, it's perfectly leveled with the terrain. It's a bit awkward looking right now because it doesn't have a lot of trees, but when we plant some of them on the outskirts of this area, it will look and will blend in much better. Okay guys, so I have been working on this area off camera. I just added a bit of details. So for example, on the coastline area I added these little assets. So here we have the restaurant Pier, which I think looks great. I have even designed a few of the low density residential, and I've replaced them with some shops because I thought they would complement this area a bit better, but now that I look at it, I think this building is way too tall for a shoreline building. So I really do not want that, so I'm going to replace it with a house all over again. And over here we have a fishing pier. These are assets that I think fit a quiet living coastal location such as this one. I have also added a few pathways in these empty areas. I really do not like to have empty areas between buildings, especially when they're this big, so that's why I usually put pathways or even trees, or both in the majority of cases. So that's exactly what I've done, and I've done the same thing over here. I've made this big pathway that connects this entire thing. We even have a couple of people using it already. Or maybe not. Oh yeah, there we go, one person here. Okay. And I've also added this road that goes in between the highway and connects everything together all the way until here. These buildings are being abandoned because they don't have enough educated workers, but as soon as education builds up in this area, that will not be an issue. So I'm not really worried about that. To wrap this up, I just want to make some adjustments to this area. So first and foremost, I want to upgrade some roads. I'm thinking we can upgrade this main road over here, because it's a long segment of road. And I think some trees here will make it look much better. And we can also do the same thing with this road on the block below. Okay, there we go. I think that's a nice addition to the whole scene. It makes it look much more friendly than before. Now I just wanna put a few trees to decorate this area. I would like to place some trees that are the same trees that this asset has, so let's see if I can find them. I think it's these ones, the green trees. Yeah, there we go. It's the exact same trees, so I am going to put a couple of them over here in this area, just to mask the rectangular shape of the asset. Yeah, look at it. Much better. Doesn't look like a rectangle anymore. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. This area is far from finished because we still need to decorate everything with trees. That's the only thing missing. And we also need to add a few bus routes, which we will do when we rework the entire bus system of the city. We have also unlocked the next level for the zoo, so I think on the next episode we can go back to it and upgrade it even further. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again on the next video. Have a good one, and as always, have fun!